Digital Transformation Part 3. In the first two episodes we talked about good, cheap and fast, and we talked about, do you know what you want to achieve or you don't know yet what you want to achieve. So we're building on that now. So once you've done a little bit of analysis, you need to dig in deeper. Even if you know what you want to achieve, or based on some analysis you have a fair understanding of where you want to make improvements and what sort of improvements, you'll need to become specific. If you don't know where you want to go, you can just as well go anywhere. So it's very important that you define properly where exactly do you want to go and what do you want to achieve. So that means that you will have to do more analysis and more definition. It also means that you will have to become specific in terms of numbers. If you're talking about, for instance, delivery times to your customers, you'll need to be specific about, okay, what is my delivery time now and what do I want it to be? If you have an administration department with 8 people, you need to be specific about, okay, what do I think is normal for my company? Is that 2 people? Is that 6 people? Is that 4 people? Is that 8 people? You need to define your targets based on numbers. So, whether we are talking about improving quality, whether we are talking about lowering costs, or whether we are talking about improving speed, we need to be able to measure. And we need to be able to measure how the situation is now. And so if you're talking about good, for instance, what you need to be able to define are whatever you want to call it. You can call them critical success factors, you can call them KPIs, but you need to define what am I going to measure and how am I going to measure my improvement. That still doesn't have a lot to do with digital transformation, but it is essential to set the conditions right, set the parameters right, so that you later know if your digital transformation was successful, yes or no. So, whether you want to improve your quality, whether you want to do things cheaper or faster, you need to specify your KPIs. How am I going to measure this? Now, if you talk about cheap, then probably that's not so difficult. Then you're talking about number of FTE, you're talking about total cost. Yeah. If you're talking about fast, you're talking about turnaround time, you're talking about delivery times. If you're talking about good, if you're talking about quality, you're probably talking about things like fallout percentages. If you do things like quality control, yeah, your pass percentages. So you need to define a little bit how you want to measure your organization. How am I doing now, and how do I want to improve? Again, whether it's good, cheap or fast, whether you're talking about quality improvement, cost reduction, or speed of delivery, in all these cases you need to know how the situation is now and what you want it to be. So, coming back, we talked about 3 elements that you can improve: good, cheap and fast. We talked about goals and goal setting. We talked a little bit about analysis of your organization, and what we are doing now is getting more and more specific, and we're defining how we are going to measure our improvement, how we're going to measure our transformation. In order to be able to do that, we first need to know how are we doing now in the company. So that's what we have been talking about now. All right, more next week.